Hello students, we will be discussing very important topic of internal security, that is basics of cyber security, and we will do it in parts. This is part 1. I'm your mentor Siddharth here, and I will be discussing this topic in detail. Okay, so students, why am I saying so that this topic is very much relevant and very much important? See, the point here is whatever topics that we have understood till now, just like terrorism, naxalism, money laundering, any of these topics, you see these problems, the threat they are posing to our country, it's been in discussion since decades, 4 to 5 to 6 decades, the problem prevails. But this point we need to understand the cyber security aspect. It is being under discussion since only last 2 decades. I mean, how many of us were rigorously and commercially, or maybe for our businesses, were using internet, or maybe for communicating with others? Last 10 years ago, if you see, the changes have been miraculous and very much expanding, and the number of internet users, if we talk about number of internet subscribers or users in our country, it is more than 750 million, and it is expected to reach more than 900 million by 2025. So you see, early 2000s, the commercialization, the technological aspects, it has improved since then, and the usage of the internet and communication has resulted in lot of different forms of crimes in the society, and these different types of crimes which are done in the cyberspace are actually the cyber threats and called as cyber crimes. So I will discuss in detail what are cyber crimes, and since these new forms of crimes are emerging and they are increasing every year by year, there is a very important need for cyber security. And earlier also I have told you that the war, particular, if there is a kind of a war or rage between two countries or nations, it was supposed to be earlier at land, then it shifted to water, air. Today space is also one of the dimensions or arena where these kind of wars can happen, but now the fifth dimension is here, and this dimension is of cyber world, where it is being believed that if world war has to happen now, it will take another shape. It will not be the physical war, it will be a cyber war. And if you connect the cyberspace with the economy of the country, with the polity of the country, or social aspect of the country, it is truly relevant, because we are very much dependent today on usage of technology. That's why I am giving so much time in introducing this particular topic, because I am telling you students, this is one particular topic where UPSC is very interested. Not just UPSC, if there is any state PCS exam you are giving, any state PCS exam, or any exam, any government exam where written answers or written questions are asked, even in interview also, it has a very important role in every field. And look at the trend also. Where will you connect this cyber security aspect? It is definitely at the national internal security level. It is at the businesses level. It is at the individual level as well, because individuals are also at stake. So I'll teach you all that, and before going further in this particular topic, going into the details of the topic, I want you to have a look at the number of the questions and the type of questions that have come in the past. 2022 question was asked, what are the different elements of cybersecurity? Now students thought that this particular question is asking about types of cyber attack. But actually it is not asking you the types of the cyber attacks, it is asking you the elements of cyber security. There is a difference, and this is particular area where students got confused, and this will happen to those students who do this particular topic superficially. But I want to tell you students, we will discuss this topic in detail. We will try to cover all the aspects of the topic, all the terminologies, maximum terminologies which are involved in this particular topic. The second point, the second part of the question was, it was asking you regarding the national cybersecurity strategy of our country. So this is the second part of the question. In internal security questions in UPSC, we have seen that they are generally more concerned regarding the countermeasures and the policies basically. And here one such strategy was asked to you. Now let us look at the, you do not to think about the answer now, just look at the question only, because step by step we will discuss the topic, and as I will progress in this particular video, you will realize and the particular topic as we will progress, since this is just a part 1, part 2 will also be there regarding the countermeasures. As we will move forward slowly and slowly, you will realize that you are getting to understand the particular topic well, and also what are the type of the questions that can be predicted as well. 2021, you see the question was regarding the India's internal security point of view, where the analysis was expected out of you that how the impact, analyze the impact of the cross-border cyber attack. Now it is actually asking you regarding cyber attacks which are sophisticated in nature, and here a student is expected to also mention regarding terrorism. And there is another form of terrorism that is called as cyber terrorism. This is a new form of terrorism. So if you are not able to define this particular word or cross-border cyber attack, what do you mean by this? What would be the, if you're not able to introduce the topic well, your examiner, the person who is checking your copy will be understanding the point that you are not well prepared and you are taking this topic lightly. Ensure this, that these questions are coming in the exam, we need to understand them well. And second part, again, defensive measures against these attacks. So technology wise also you have to mention few points here. So this was the question in 22, this was the question in 21. Now let us see the question that came in 2020. Direct question was asked in 2020, where different types of cyber crimes were asked. Now this question is different, and the elements of cybersecurity, it is different. Then the countermeasures that are required to fight this menace, and this was an easy question, I would say, because it was very direct. And since it is not asked with respect to India's internal security only, you will definitely take this aspect into the loop in the question about regarding the India's internal security threat or different cyber crimes prevailing in India. But you can also quote examples here which are global in nature. So it's not just India, it's other countries also which are facing similar kinds of problems. So now this question was of 2020, and now in 2019 it asked you a very unique question. UPSC asked about Cyber Dome project. Now Cyber Dome project is basically, it was a good question. Actually it was not expected, that because this particular project was the initiative of the Kerala police, where cyber policing is basically this project is regarding the cyber policing. So students thought that this would be this kind of question that should come in the prelims examination, but when it was specifically asked in the mains examination, it was unique. But however, the second part of the question was again the same, that how can it be useful in controlling the internet crimes. So how internet crimes can be controlled. If you even know the general answer which you prepared, then also you will have handy points to mention in your exam. And do not get scared out of these kind of particular questions, because if it is difficult, then it will be difficult for everyone. However, when it is in current affairs, we generally do not skip this part, and we prepare them in our prelims examination or mains examination both. But good question and a unique question. However, in 2018, the question was regarding a committee report. The committee was formed by basically the chairperson of the committee was Justice B.N. Sri Krishna committee, and this committee published or submitted its report where the question was specifically regarding the strength and the weaknesses of the report. So this was basically current affairs questions. It was somewhere expected that this particular kind of question could have come because this report was very much in news. And now what is expected out of you? Seeing this question of 2018, if you say that it is not having any relevance for 2024 or 2025, it is not right. Because now what you can do is, in any of the questions regarding the cybersecurity, you can quote this committee now. You can quote the weakness of the committee, maybe not. If you quote the strength of the committee and say that in way forward, I can say that this so and so committee has given such recommendations and it should be implemented, it would be a good point. So learn out of the questions that were asked in the previous year examinations, because that will guide you in a proper direction and will help you even to enrich your further points. Okay, so you see the trend 2022, 21, then 2020, 19, 18. Every year one question is coming out of this particular topic. I am so much concerned about this particular topic because I know that next year also a question is going to come, and we have to be very much sure that at least this question, which we are so much sure of, should be, you should write, if your writing means you should write very confidently. At least in this particular topic you should not lose your marks. Now see again, 2017, 2016, every year there is a question. In 2017 it asked you regarding the potential threats of cyber attack and security framework to prevent it. So this is a countermeasure, and this is the potential types of the cyber attack, which is a similar kind of question that was asked in 2020. So there is a cycle where the questions are getting repeated as well. And again 2016 it asked you regarding the national cyber security policy of 2013. We will keep these kinds of policies and strategies into loop. It is either asking you any kind of a policy and strategy, since in 2016 it asked you already about the national cybersecurity policy, but in 2022 it asked you about national cybersecurity strategy. So ensure that these points should come up even if a normal question is being asked to you, or maybe you should be prepared that such kind of a question can also be repeated in future. So I hope my students are totally aware what kind of questions are coming and how they should prepare and particularly plan in understanding this particular topic and what needs to be read. So I will help you here. What we will be discussing in this particular video will be the introduction at least. I understand that there are many students who do not understand science actually because they do not have that background, and I will ensure that I'll take this particular topic from the basics, that what is cyberspace, what is cyber threat. Okay, so we will deal with the basics. I'll teach you those basics. I'll give you some data and figures so that you can code them in your introduction. Then what are the motive behind why there are such kind of cyber crimes happening, what methods do they use, that means we will discuss the types of the cyber attacks, and then components of cyber attack or the elements of the cyber attack which was asked to you. Later on we will see the importance of cyber security, why it is important. I will also discuss some recent attacks of cyber crime attacks that happened. Then we will also discuss cyber crimes against the women also, because you know women, this particular part actually it can be quoted in the GS paper 1 also, this particular point, because in social issues or maybe in Indian society part you can quote that there are now new forms of crime that are coming up and surfacing, particularly related to child pornography, related to child the woman image morphing. Some artificial intelligence tools are being used in harming the dignity of the woman. So such crime regarding the women, they are increasing. So that can come up also in your GS paper 2, where you discuss that there are different vulnerables where law enforcements are there and different types of acts are there. So you can quote that part here, and this could be a lone question as well. In addition, I will also teach you what is cyber warfare. I will tell you how cyber warfare will be different from cyber crimes, And traditional war and cyber war, what exactly is the difference between the two? We will also look into some of the examples, and this would be the part 1 of the video, part 1 video of the cybersecurity, and the second part would be regarding the countermeasures at the government level, at the institute level, at the agencies level, and security level. So we will try to cover this topic holistically. I will discuss the particular terminologies associated with cyber crimes as well. Okay students, so let's start and deal with the topic from a very first word, what is cyberspace. So the first word that you must understand is what is cyberspace. See students, cyberspace is a digital space, basically electronic digital space where information, whatever information is there, whether it is stored or this information is shared using computer networks, right? So this is basically the cyberspace. Whatever, let us say, I will take the example so that it would be easy for you to understand. Let us take a bank. A bank would have different account details of account holders. It will also have the personal information of the person who is holding the account, and also the maybe the money, whatever they are up to and whatever transactions they are doing, that all you will get at a single place in the server of these particular banks where this information will be loaded. So this is a space, this is a cyberspace. It is the particular space where this information is stored or maybe shared. If I take the example of the information being shared, we can talk about social media. There are various platforms. So a user can have his or her account there. You post your photos, you post your videos, you share these videos or maybe other videos with your friends, and you see whatever is happening, whatever you are discussing, whatever information you are sharing, whatever you are writing, whatever you are commenting, it is all occupying any space, and this space is occupied in a cyber world. So this is a connection of network of using internet, computers, devices, mobiles, electronic devices, and this particular aspect is called as cyberspace. Now I take more examples of critical infrastructure. What is critical infrastructure? We are aware that any economy, whichever country who is trying to develop itself, even if it is a developed country, then also they are forcing themselves and pushing themselves to move forward. There also, or in India also, we are connecting everything with network, our railway stations, our airports, our energy facilities. So everything is connected with network, and for security reasons also, and whatever we are doing, whatever we are trying to do any kind of a transaction, or whatever information we are sharing, it is in this cyberspace. So this way you understand the importance of this cyberspace. But now the problem is that if there is some kind of a threat to this cyberspace, that will be called as cyber threat. And who are these people who are trying to do these things? They can do it for their personal gains, and that personal gain can be economic, that personal gain can be political or social, that it depends, but mostly it is economic. In addition, one nation can also do it against another to gain some advantage, right? So I will give you examples like Snowden revelations, where it was seen that many of the, particularly the US, was spying and have lot of documents, not just in domestic market, but also they were doing surveillance over the international topics, internationally. So such kind of revelations were very shocking for everyone. So I'll teach you that, but you understand the word cyber threat. So now if you understand the word cyber threat, the cyberspace is under some kind of a threat. We can categorize it into two ways. So I will clean this particular slide, and I hope you have noted everything. So now I will divide this particular cyber crime or cyber threat into two types of threats. One is basically cyber crime, and another one is cyber warfare or cyber war. So what is the basic difference between cyber crime and cyber war? You must know they both are threat to the cyberspace. Students, whenever a crime will be done against individual, against any kind of organization or corporations, it will be called as cyber crime, and such crime will be done using computer systems or networks, and against any individual or against any kind of organization or corporation or group. But if one nation or one state or one government is posing threat to another government with respect to the cyber threat, then that will be a cyber war. So war is happening in the digital world, where we are either spying on another nation or trying to hurt the economy of the other nation, or we are trying to seek some information that will be that will put us into some kind of advantage with respect to another country. Whatever may be the situation, if this is happening between two nations, it will be called as cyber war. Okay, so I hope you understand the basic difference between cyber crime and cyber war. Now, how will you define cyber crime in the exam in the introduction part? So you must write that cyber crime involves all those crimes where computers, networks are being involved, and here the crime is being done by using such devices, such networks, upon any other form of the target, which particular target will also be electronic device or the network, and these cyber crimes harm someone's security or financial health. So why they are being done? They are done for causing any kind of a financial harm or gaining some kind of a financial economic benefit. So this is how you can define the term cyber crime. Now, how can we categorize cyber crime? Can be divided into two categories. There would be one category where such kind of cyber crime will target computers directly. It is one possibility that it is targeting your computers directly, or there is another category of cyber crimes where the crime will be facilitated by using computer networks. So either our own system, our own computer, our device is at stake, using that particular device the cyber crime is happening, or using the network the cyber crime is happening. There can be two broad categorization. So first, if we discuss What are the different categories where we can say with different types of where the computer is directly being targeted. So I'll give you some examples here, like if any kind of computer virus is installed at the device, and some kind of a misuse of these kind of a virus, what kind of misuse they can do? They can delete a file, they can modify the file. So when I say a file means I'm talking about data, any kind of a data. So this is one way where the computer system in itself is being under attack. One example. Second example can be attack of the device using malwares. So how can we define malwares? So malwares can be defined as malicious softwares. All those softwares which are being installed for harming the system, they are called as malicious, having the intention to harm. So that is malicious softwares, and these malicious softwares, they can be of different types. They can be worms, they can be trojans, and if you do not understand these words, I will explain you. Just give me a moment. So this is one example where your computer system is directly under attack, and there can be other examples as well. That is DOS, that means denial of service. Denial of service means that there is no access being given, or maybe this particular computer system is under so much attack that the access that a user wants is not able to gain it. So this is again denial of service. This will be explained to you in detail, where we will discuss their types of cyber attacks. Here in all these examples, the computer device is directly under the attack. But when we say we are talking about the cyber crimes happening at the computer network, so what kind of different examples are here? First, there can be economic frauds. Economic frauds. So when we take this example, we say that if the bank accounts, or if I say if a bank is under a cyber attack, then whatever bank accounts are there, their information can be leaked. Maybe the amount of money can be taken away. These things can happen. So if from your pocket physically your purse is being snatched off, that is a type of a crime which is done in the physical world. But if the same thing is happening to your digitally, if it is happening to your bank account, where the money transactions which you have do not authorize, which are unauthorized transactions, happened without your consent, this will be a economic fraud that can happen. And this will be with respect to the network that you are using, the network system that a system of bank is using, right? Second example here, spreading pornography. This is one such crime where India, particularly with respect to child pornography, if such kind of acts are happening in the digital arena, India is very strict regarding this. We have very good laws to prevent child pornography, and not just child pornography, where women, the image or the dignity of the women, the image of celebrities, they are tarnished sometimes. And these things, where the spreading of these things happen, then this is another form of cyber crime. And this is happening not just at an individual computer directly, it is actually using the networks and misusing it, if I would say. Third can be the example of copyright infringement. So if we are somewhere stealing the copyrights, the rights of particular creativity, that can be one of the examples. Fourth example can be of cyber stalking. Another example can be cyber bullying. What is cyber bullying? When we humiliate someone, give threat to someone, abuse, harass the person, or do verbal violence with respect to their maybe on their photographs, maybe on their videos, maybe using social media. maybe using public social media platforms. Here, if you are disrespecting somebody and discrediting somebody, this is cyber bullying. Okay, this is also a type of crime. And fifth example can be of, I can say indirectly, the misuse of social media. This could be the broader point. And identity theft. Identity theft. I am changing my identity and showing trust, or maybe giving trust to someone and then seeking any kind of advantage later on. So this is also a crime where identity of the person is being changed intentionally to give to actually harm another person. This is the basic two categories of cybercrime. And now students, we will discuss about malwares. So I'll take you to the basics. I have already told you these are malicious softwares, and there are of various types. One such type is virus, another is worms, then there is something called Trojan horse. You would have heard this word. I will also explain one word, that is hoax. So these are of different types and there are other types as well, but these are the basic common words which are generally being used. And in a prelims question, it can be asked to you the differences between the worm or Trojan horse or a virus. And we are talking about computer virus here, we're not talking about the biology here. So students, what is basically the difference between all these terms? Very basic question, but yes, many of these students sometimes do not or they're not able to differentiate them even if they are of engineering background at times. So let us discuss it. I will discuss it technically as well, and I'll give you the basic examples so that in easy layman term also you can understand what a virus is. Viruses are actually programs. These are kinds of programs or codes that attaches itself to any application. This is basic common definition, and runs whenever that application runs. Now this is a technical definition. Now this is a kind of a virus, is a kind of a program or code. This program or code will be attached to any kind of application and it will run and replicate itself. It is going to replicate itself. So what are applications? Even if you are listening to a song, you are opening a song to play in your system, in your device, if you are listening to that particular song, there is an application run. And this application run, the program, the virus will be attached to such application and it will now run with the application, try to replicate itself, and then later on what it will do, it will try to modify the program application functionality. Okay, so it is trying to modify the application as well, and later on it can pose threat of, example, deleting the files or data. So this is how virus work. They all are malwares. This is a program or code which is having an intention of harming the system actually, but it modifies the program as well, and this power is with the virus. But does worm has this power? No. So with respect to worm, we will say it does not modify the program. And in short, though it is like a virus, it replicates itself within system again and again, and later on what it will do, it will make your system slower. But does it have the power of modifying the application and program? No, it does not. So to ensure this, such kind of a difference, if it is asked, it will be on this particular aspect only. It is most probable. And Trojan horse, what does Trojan horse means? So does it replicate? Does it replicate? So the answer to the question is no. Question is, does it modify the applications? The answer is no. It does not modify the functionality of the applications. It doesn't do so. So what it does actually? Is it a virus? It is just like a virus. Yet yes, it is like a virus, but having no powers of replication, having no powers of modification of the functionality of the system. But actually these are hidden pieces of codes. These are hidden pieces of code which is intended to leak confidential information. So they are like, they tend to leak the information. Now taking the examples, if you go any kind of a simple system, in the system, if there is a login details that are asked to you, where you have to write your username, where you have to mention your password, what will happen is, while the time you will be mentioning your username, your password, this information will be leaked. So this is what Trojan horse actually does to you. So I hope students you understand the basic differences between virus, worms and Trojan horse. Now I will take you to the another term that is called as hoax. So students, what are hoax? Hoax are basically the email. This particular email will come to you, and whenever this email will come, it will warn you against any kind of a harm that is happening to your computer. So this email will warn you that there is a harm that is happening to your computer, and you must focus on taking some kind of a process, and you must follow the some kind of a procedure. And whenever you try to follow such kind of a process and procedure, what will happen to your system? This particular virus, this particular type of the code will invade your system, and it will delete your files. So what is actually happening in the hoax? In the case of the hoax, there is a false alarm. You know the term hoax calls. Like in movies also they show that a hoax call happened where somebody is shouted that there is a bomb in at the airport or railway station, and then people started running. But later on, when the investigation was done, it was realized there was no such bomb. So this was a hoax call, and such hoax call happen in the case of type of malware, where an email warns you that there is some kind of a harm in your computer system. When you try to rectify it using a procedure or a process, such kind of a code virus enters in your system and it invades it and delete your files. So this is hoax. So these are the basic differences among these typical words. Now let us move to the next point, where if some examples you have to write, that what are the various types of attacks that has happened to our country India. I will give you specific examples for India. Then what examples are actually there? So first example that we will discuss is 2021 example, where Just Pay company, this is the name of the company. This particular kind of a company directs you for payment related transaction related help, and this happens when you try to pay for something. It redirects you to this particular company, and this helps you in doing such kind of payments. So I hope you would have seen it. So what happened in 2021? Just Pay company, what happens to the company, that there was a cyber attack on this particular company, and it suffered breach of data. In fact, it was breach of 35 million customers' data, and this was a very huge number. This is a very huge number where privacy of the people is being at stake, and this particular thing happened. And in fact, another example, if I take of 2022 February, it's a very recent example. What happened was Air India. I hope you know what is Air India. Air India was such a big issue happened actually. Air India, there was a cyber attack, 4.5 million again customers record was stolen or maybe copied. And what kind of a record we are talking about? We're talking about passport information, we are talking about tickets information, and in fact the way they have passengers have booked their tickets, their credit card information, it was leaked. Then another example, there was an attack on AIMS server, and this was a ransomware attack. So in ransomware attack, what happens is that some kind of a ransom is being asked in the particular point where system is being hacked in such a way that until unless you pay that ransom to the system, the files will be not open to you and there will be no access to your computer. So this happened at AIMS, where we can say the new form of particular cyber attacks are happening, where health industry is at stake. Health industry is very much vulnerable. The data related to health industry is very much vulnerable. And then fourth example is of 2019 attack, a very important example of Kundan Kulam nuclear power plant. So there was an attack on this nuclear power plant, and this is, this is a critical infrastructure for our country, because if such kind of a attack is happening to our nuclear facility, it can pose economic problems to us, it can pose environmental problems to us, security problems to us, and even it puts our the citizens, the people who are living around this particular such kind of a nuclear facility, their health is also at stake somewhere. So in this example, what happened was that there was some kind of a there was some kind of a cyber attack in this particular nuclear facility, nuclear power plant. Though initially our government denied it, but later on it was told to the media that yes, there was an attack, but India has handled this particular problem well. But since it happened actually, so we see that there are so many vulnerabilities, and critical infrastructure, if it is attacked, then it creates more problems to us. The magnitude of the damage will be more. Fifth example can be about, you can quote the example of 2018 Pune based Cosmos Bank. It was said that this particular bank it lost 94 crores of rupees while dealing because of the cyber attack. And in the another example, you can talk about 2016 attack, where were different from the different banks. What happened was 3.2 million debit card info was leaked. So you see, students, it's a very big problem. We cannot deny this, that this problem is a very small problem. It's a very big problem, and it's a number of attacks, they are increasing day by day. In fact, I will give you some data here. Let me clean the particular slide. So I hope you have copied these. There are different examples. I am cleaning the slide now. If I give you some examples, so if we talk about 2020, right, if we talk about 2020, it was said that 1.16 million cyber attacks happened. And if we compare it to the previous years, like say if we compare it with respect to 2019, this number increased in 2022 3 times. So with respect to 2019, if I in fact I should change the arrow, with respect to 2019, the number of attacks that happened in 2020, they increased to 3 times, and if we compare it to 2016 data, then the number of attacks that happened in 2020 were actually 20 times more. So you see how the number of attacks, they are increasing day by day, day after the another, and this is a very big issue for our country. Not just for our country, but it is such a big issue for the whole globe, for all the countries, and there should be consensus among the nations. So since there is so much cyber crime, there are so much cyber attacks, there is a urgent need for cyber security issues, and that is why how I can now introduce the term cyber security and why do we need cyber security. So the up till here the topic that we discussed was related to cyber crime, cyber threats. For controlling such cyber crimes, we need cyber security. Now, how will you define cyber security in your exam? One way is to write anything. Students, it happened to them, they write anything in the exam and the definitions are not proper, and then if the introduction is not good, examiner tends to lose interest in reading your answer. But if let us suppose a student write in the introduction part that I define cyber security using the information given in the Information Technology Act of 2000, where cybersecurity means protecting the information, equipments, our devices, computers, our resources, communication devices, information storage. We need to protect it. Protect it from what? Protect it from any kind of unauthorized, mention the word unauthorized, unauthorized access, unauthorized usage of data, disclosure of the data, disruption of the data, even modification or destruction of the data. We need to prevent such unauthorized access and protect all these 5-6 components. This is cyber security. So students, this is a way where a good candidate would express and choose its words, his or her words very precisely, appropriately, and ensure that everything is being mentioned. We are talking about destruction, modification, access, use, disclosure, disruption, everything. So what we are dealing with? We are dealing with 3 alphabets. Cybersecurity means that the confidentiality should be maintained. We want our data to be very much confidential. We need to ensure that the identity of the people needs to be intact and the privacy of the people that should not harm. Second, the word I means that, as I've already told you, identity of the people, it should not be harmed. If one person is dealing with the another person, doing any transaction, doing any communication, exchanging any data, just exchanging anything, any transaction is happening, economic or maybe verbal or maybe social, anything, the identity should be the same. The identity of the person should not be changed. There should not be any kind of identity theft. So we want to prevent it, and we want to prevent it. That means we are focusing on cybersecurity. Cybersecurity also focuses on the A. The A means access. You should be able to access the information. First point, you should not be prevented. And if you're prevented, it should be for ensuring the confidentiality and identity of the people. So we need to focus on this A, that authorized people should only get access, unauthorized access should be restricted. So this is one way of explaining cybersecurity. There can be another definition as well. For cybersecurity, you can simply write as well that cybersecurity can be defined as the protection of systems, networks and data in cyberspace. This is a basic simple definition that can also be used in the examination, but you can see the difference. Even this definition is also good, not bad, but if you're quoting a Indian act, then it obviously gives you more leverage, and it gives you more support in structuring your answer. So what are the different forms of cyber attacks now? It is phishing. One such method that we will discuss is phishing. So it is different from phishing, right? Then malware, I've explained. Then ransomware, where ransom is being asked. One is a man in the middle. You can understand that between two transactions, one person is coming up and eavesdropping is happening. SQL injection is there. DOS, denial of service, is there. Then there are other forms as well, crypto jacking as well, and then there are different forms are there. But what we will do, we will try to at least have 7 to 8 types. We will discuss 7 to 8 types. But the question again comes up, why such attacks are happening? So they are happening for economic frauds, they are happening for spreading some kind of pornography, they are happening because they want to reap some kind of political or social benefit out of it, they are happening for cyberbullying, cyber stalking is happening, so this is also a crime. This is happening for radicalization of the youth, creating intolerance in the society, they are happening to misuse the social media. These are the reasons that this kind of attacks are there, and there are different types as well. So what about different figures and data that exist actually? And this data is very much important, because in your examination you can quote such data and figures in substantiating your facts and your logic behind stating something. Also in your introduction you can quote such data that first of all, India, it is one of the highest numbers of there are number of highest number of cyber attacks are happening in our country, and among top 3 we are at this second position in terms of targeted attacks, and global information safety report states so. So I will show you this particular graph. It is basically the number of attacks that happened between 2015 and 2017. It was published in the newspaper. So it says that if targeted attacks are being seen in 2015 and 17, India comes at the second position. But if it is regarding the ransomware attacks, then India is at fourth position. Though the data is a bit older, you can still quote it, not a problem. But relevant data which can be quoted today is with respect to 2020 Global Cyber Security Index, which states that India is ranked at 10th position. So when we talk about there is an index, first of all, this index is being given by ITU, International Telecommunication Union. Okay, first of all, the data is being given by ITU. So if with respect to cyber security we are talking about, the India is ranking at 10th level. That means our cyber security is not that much robust. It needs to be very efficient, it needs to be very much promising, and it should have the capacity to prevent such attacks. We are not able to prevent every attack, that's why we are 10th position. This is important aspect. And then the recent report, that is Global Cyber Security Outlook report of 2020. You can state this report as well, and you must also know that which particular organization publishes it. It is World Economic Forum. This could be another question, prelims specific, right? You know that in prelims one of the reports is generally asked in the examination. So what this particular report suggested, it clearly said that the rise in cyber attacks is happening, And if we look at the data, it is actually 151% in 2021. And this means that this particular report wants to divert the attention of the world and all the nations, that overall international cooperation is required at the cyber security level. It is one of the prime concern for everyone today. Cyber attacks are primary concern, and cyber security should be the priority for all nations. So you can quote this particular data, the information, the rank, the index, or maybe the position where India falls in with respect to the whole world, where the potential attacks are much higher. Now, other different forms of numbers. So I am trying to clear this particular slide. I hope you have noted everything. With respect to internet users, I've already told you that when we talk about COVID-19, when March 2020 lockdown happened, and if we see the data at June 2020, just within the span of 3 months, we realized that the number of internet subscribers, it increased from 743 million to 749 million. Today it is obviously more than 750 million, but the data says that it would be around 700 million by 2025, or maybe before that. And India is already most largest populated country today. So this is one of the reasons why we should focus on cybersecurity aspects, because in future the number of internet subscribers, since they are increasing, there is a need for robust cybersecurity. And if we see the particular security market, if we talk about this industry where security market stands at this, where it doesn't stand, the data is that in US dollars it is 2200 million in financial year 2021, and it is expected to rise at 8% till 2027 at a compound annual growth rate. So compound annual growth rate says it should be 8%. It's a very high number. And if you're looking for good stable jobs, I think this is the area where you should focus and work on if you have the ability, because this market is flourishing. Another example is there. I'm not giving you jobs, don't worry. Big data analysis, but I'm helping you out maybe. Big data analysis. The future is in the analysis of the data. Huge amount of data is being accumulated every day, and now if the analysis is done properly, or maybe artificial intelligence, these are the promising perspective future industries where individual should look up to. Anyways, these are the facts, this is data that can help you in writing good answers in the examination, and try to code this in the examination. Also, there is something called Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, that is CERT in. According to CERT in, there is a cyber attack increase by 89% in 2019. You can quote this. Now the question comes is, what are the reasons for increasing cyber attacks, particularly in India? So if such question asks to you, what will you write? What are the reasons behind it? So I have given you one reason. First, you should quote regarding the internet subscribers, that there is a rise in internet subscribers, and it is going to increase, the number is going to increase tomorrow. Secondly, you can write that there is increasing dependency on technology actually. So we are today in this modern world, we are very much reliant on the technology aspect at the economic level, at the social level, communication level, IT infrastructure level, or maybe at the critical infrastructure protection level, even at the political level too, at every aspect. In internal security as well, countering internal security, at countering dealing with environmental issues, everywhere technology has its role, even in fact education, health. So If we are so much dependent on technology, then the future is about controlling the cyber attacks. So this is one aspect. This is in fact second point. Third point is use of cyberspace by in fact terrorist groups as well, or non-state actors. They are also very much educated, and they are also understanding this new form of dimension where the attacks can be done and threaten the countries can be threatened, the groups can be threatened. This is the new form of cyber attack, or maybe the new form of terrorism, where cyber terrorism word is coming up. I will explain you in the end of the stage of this particular video. This is another reason that there is a rise in number of cyber attacks, because this new form of attack, terrorist groups have also understood it. Fourth point can be the lack of robust law enforcement mechanism. There are good acts, there are laws, there are good policies, but the implementation is sometimes not good, or maybe we need more rigorous forms of mechanism to control cyber attacks, and ultimately adverse relatives or neighbors like China and Pakistan. China is also it's very good in technological aspects, in communication aspect, in the changing scenario of the world where technology is being there. And since China plays a very important role, we say that yes, it is one of the reasons that China is also trying to enter into the arena of the Indian market, where it is trying to take the data, or try to leak the documents of the privacy of the users or customers, so that it can reap some economic benefits, and also make its own policies to bring down India somewhere in the future. So I take the example of Chinese apps. These Chinese apps, approximately 59-60 Chinese apps, they were banned in 2020. Why they were banned? In 2019, 2020, why these particular applications were banned? Because it was seen that they were taking the data of the users. And how they do so? Whenever you download any kind of application, you understand that there is an access requirement which is every time asked to you, your contacts access, your photograph gallery access, and sometimes users are not that much aware. I write this point as a last point, where the lack of awareness among the masses is there. There is lack of digital literacy, and people are not aware that while putting access and giving access to the applications, it can be that their data is being taken away, and that whatever they're using on their mobile, that can be checked on. So this is one aspect, and there are various ways to counter check all these kind of things, but these Chinese apps were actually were banned, considering the internal security aspect, though there were some economic reasons as well. And TikTok was one example, and many hearts were broken when TikTok was banned in our country, but there are other platforms as well, so people are happy today, they have other options. One point also I would like to mention here, that some kind of lack of international cooperation is also one of the reasons that we are not able to find the proper solution at the global level, and because of which there is a rise of cyber attacks, not just with respect to India but globally as well. So this could be the common point, but these points, they simply tell us about why India somewhere is being in such vulnerable position. So this is all about the what are the reasons. So 5, 6, 7 points, they are good enough points. You can frame a 10-mark question out of it, right? You can write a good 10-mark answer out of it. Okay, students.